Yo-Yoing, here to tell you about one really simple trick that I think helped me stop the yo-yo diets for good, forever, which I have been yo-yoing up and down since at least 12 years old. So I'm very happy to be out of that, and I'm very happy to have stopped that. The trick that I have for you today is really simple. It's not very high tech. You have probably heard it before. You have probably tried it before. But if you haven't stuck with it, then it's not going to work for you. So the trick that I have for you today is a food diary. So I'm sure that if you are among the dieting crowd that you have tried this food diary before, and you probably think that, well, yeah, that's very 1999 of you. We're in the mid 20,000s, whatever you want to call this, we're in now. We all have our smartphones. We all have our apps. I have Chronometer. And these are great for telling you your macros, basically your carb count, fat count, protein count, how many calories you're eating. And that's really important, especially when you're at the beginning of low carb, high fat. It's important to know how many carbs you're taking in on a daily basis. Also, sometimes you're not eating enough fat, so it's really good to still use this and track this. And I definitely would recommend that you still use it as long as you're using it on a consistent basis. That's obviously really important. If you're like me, sometimes I'll start really good, I'll track it, and then I get to a meal and I don't know what to add, so I just don't add it. Or, maybe I'm having a particularly busy day and I don't add it. So if you're using the apps like that, they don't really work that well. So make sure you stay consistent with it, and that will help you. But if you are a part of my Coach Me course, on day 5, I also recommend a very simple food diary. And basically, when I was at my highest weight ever, I read the Kick Your Fat in the Nuts book, and he suggests that you do this simple food journal where you're basically only writing down maybe what day it is. You want to write down the time you ate, what you ate, how many carbs are in that meal, and how that meal made you feel. That's it. That is all you are writing. So I have been using food journals like this for a long time. I've been dieting for a long time, way before smartphones. And I always had a few problems with using these journals. And the first problem that I had was making it overcomplicated. So if you're adding more than all those things I just told you, those 4 items, like I used to, I don't know if you could see this, but I used to add the food, the time, how many calories, how many carbs, protein, fat, add it all up. And it was just like a huge math calculation. It would take up so much time in my day looking all this up, calculating it all. How many calories was I taking in? How many calories were going out? And I would do it for a few days, and then I would get bored of it because it was far too much work to do. So basically, when I simplified it, and I just basically, I don't know how much of this you can see, hopefully you can, but basically just wrote down the time and the food, the carb counts, and then wrote down how each meal made me feel. It really helped me tune in with my body. So it helped me tune in with which foods were working for me, which foods were not. And also it simplified things. So instead of having to know how many calories are in this thing, how many fat are in this thing, all I was looking for was just the carbs. And that really made it very easy to stick with. So once you simplify it and you do it consistently, that is a trick that can really help you. So of course, throughout the journal, I also wrote different notes, like how I was feeling that day. Did I have headaches? I wrote things, and this is TMI, I'm warning you. I wrote things like, did I poop that day? Because I was pooping once a week, and that's not normal. If you think it's normal, it's not. You might have trouble losing weight if you are only pooping once a week. So I am proud to say that when I was losing weight, I filled up my journal every day. I didn't rip any pages out. I just kept filling it up every day consistently. And by the end of the 3 months or so that it was, not only was that the first time in my life that I consistently lost weight, I didn't go up and down, but I actually kept going down. I was pooping every single day. I know. Sounds exciting. You're excited for me, right? So I was taking the supplements that I needed to and eating the right foods that I needed to in order to achieve that. And that was helping my overall health goals, and that was helping me lose weight and maintain the loss instead of keep yo-yoing up and down. Also, if you hit a stall, it's really easy to go back and look at your journal and see maybe you're slacking off somewhere. And I'm not saying that my food intake was perfect. I mean, this journal right here I found is from 2016 after I had my second baby. And I look back and there's things like apple strudel, obviously not keto. There's things like potato chips, but the fact that even though I ate those things, the fact that I wrote it down, it made it more infrequent. It kept me honest with myself, and it made me look back like, oh, I didn't lose weight. What's going on? Okay, that's going on. I had apple strudel this week. So, things like that can really help you. It's also really fun, now that I found this, it's 2 years later, to look back and see how far I've come. I obviously know a lot more now. Like, back in this day, I was eating from 7:30 in the morning till 8:45 at night. That's a long time to eat, and I've learned so much that people do not need to eat in that long of a window. And even though people tell you, keep eating, stoke your metabolism, you don't really need it. So, that's one thing I've definitely changed that has helped me. Looking back, a day like this, I had 1,600 calories and worked out for 60 minutes. Like, that's just not enough calories for being so active, and that actually makes it harder to lose weight. So even though you think it's calories in, calories out, you actually could be making it a lot harder for yourself. Other things that I notice is my fat, 122. That's way too low for a lower carb, higher fat diet. So, now that I have the knowledge, I could look back and just look at these things and say, wow, what was I doing? But on the other hand, it's great because I could also look back and say, wow, I had fabulous results and I didn't even know what I was doing then. Imagine what I could do now. So the key here is you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent, and that will help you. So if you're wondering why I'm talking about this today, this is actually what the students in my Coach Me course are learning on day 5. And it's really simple tip. It's really easy, but if you do it, it works. It really does help you. This was the first time in more than 20 years that I stopped yo-yoing. So writing it down consistently every day, it really helped me connect to what I was doing. I mean, sure, logging in a smartphone app, I could see and, kind of evaluate the results, but writing it down in an actual journal, writing down how the food was making me feel, really helped me connect. So it's something simple that I really recommend that everyone does. So people in my course are learning about this, and that's just one of the tips over the 42 days that you learn. You learn a lot more. So my course isn't just all about that's keto, that's not keto, because that's not really going to get you that far. It's these simple tips and tricks that will really help you reach your goals. And if you are an overachiever like I am, just know that there's also more complicated stuff mixed in there too, because it's kind of a combination of all of that that really helped me lose the weight and keep it off long term. So with nutrition being 80-90% of your goals, you really want to make sure that you have that dialed in and that you are consistently logging what you're eating and how you are feeling. And, I am talking about my course on this video again, but if you think that it's not right for you, that's cool. If you just want to come here and listen to me talk and see my smiling face, I appreciate it. I definitely want to try to get here at least every Wednesday to give some helpful tips for you guys. Wednesdays are good for me right now. My baby's sleeping, my toddler's in preschool. Next Wednesday, I may not be here because I have something really cool going on that I can't talk about yet, but it's a big deal, so I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But so next week it might be different, but definitely look out for me Wednesday afternoons. I hope this was helpful for you, and if it was, I appreciate it if you comment or like the video, or most importantly, share it with your friends. All right, have a great day.